Hello, this is Kate with IT Retail. In this video, we will be going over the backend and how to configure your system. As you can see, when you first log in, the dashboard will give you a summary of your day's sales, your profit, transactions, and hours worked. You can also scroll through previous days or go back to the day you were at. Alright, let's start in products. The first submenu in products is product maintenance. Product maintenance is used to add new or edit existing items and add extra information for those items. Let's add an item. All items need at least a UPC, a name, a department, and a price to be added. The rule of thumb for adding UPC numbers is to keep the first digit and drop the last one. So let's add a product right now. We're going to add brew kombucha. So we'll insert the UPC. Add the name, brew kombucha, the department, and the price. For anything edited or added in the backend, you must press save in the top right. Right there you can see it's green, it says saved. For random weight items, we require the UPC to begin with 002 and include the PLU, then the remaining 5 digits 0. The 002 notifies our system that this item is random weight and will be used with the scale. So let's add a random weight item. Press new, add 002. If the PLU is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we would put that. Price per pound. And then we can save. If you would like more information regarding the correct entry of a UPC and random weight items, we have additional guides on the knowledge base, which are really helpful. Alright, now let's go down the line and explain what each menu does. First one is inventory. Inventory allows you to provide additional information for your products. If vendors have been added, then they will be available from the drop-down menu here. As you can see, we have one vendor, UNFI. We'll add them here. You can also insert item codes from the vendor for purchasing. We'll say this one is $1. The gross margin is calculated. You can also input case cost. We'll say 5. Quantity on hand, right here, represents how many of this item is in stock. Once the quantity has been added, the system will deduct from the quantity every time that product is sold. If a value is inserted here, then the item will be put on the low inventory alert report once the quantity reaches this amount. We'll go over that report more when we reach the inventory menu. These are all additional features and not required, but are very useful for keeping track of both your cost and inventory amounts. Next we have special pricing. Right here is pricing method. Items can be discounted in 5 different ways, and they can all be calendar based and go on indefinitely if dates are not selected. The first type is unit pricing. This is a basic discount. Instead of the product selling at the regular price, it will now be sold at the sale price. When items are sold on sale, a savings message can be populated on the receipt which states how much a customer has saved compared to the regular price. The next discount is split packaging. Split packaging allows for items to be sold as 2 for $5, 3 for $9.99, but customers do not need to buy the stated amount that they still receive for the sale price if only buying one. Next is group threshold. This pricing does require customers to buy the stated amount. If not, then the item will be sold at regular pricing. Group adjusted is buy a certain amount and then the next one will be on sale. Example would be buy 5, get the 6th for $1. The last option is limited pricing. With limited pricing, the specified quantity is sold as a sale price and any item after that is regular price. Next we have age. If an item has age restrictions to purchase, check this box and input the age required for purchase. So here we can press verify age. It can be 8, 1. When you make your modifications, just remember to save. For items that are weighed during purchase, check scale. So these are your properties. If you're going to be weighing this item, press scale. Products that are eligible for food stamp need to have this box checked. Enforced quantity means that when an item is added to the transaction, a window will automatically pop up asking for how many are being sold. This box checked indicates that an item is eligible for discounts, not that the item will automatically be discounted. If a basket discount is applied during checkout, it will not work on items that have not have the discount button checked. Product taxes and fees that have been created can be applied here as well. So if you've created any taxes yet, or you're going to, items that need taxes on them, you would check here, or when they're added to their department, if that department has taxes on it, it will automatically be added to that item. And again, if you have any questions, you can call us or you can look in our knowledge base. The next submenu is mass import. With mass import, you can easily add new or edit already existing products using a CSV file. If adding new products, they will require at least 4 fields, just as if you were using product maintenance. They require a UPC, the description, price, and department. If products are just being edited, all the CSV will need to contain is the UPC and the field that is being changed. Select these fields with the drop-down menu here. We'll pick UPC, description, price, and department ID. Pick the file from your computer to upload, and then choose the correct button. Either Add Edit or Update Only. The file will upload and say Complete here. After the upload, all the changes will show immediately on your products. If a file is not successfully uploaded, it will prompt on the right and say Unable to upload, and then produce a CSV file that contains information about why it was unsuccessful. This is really helpful in finding out what was wrong or missing in the CSV file. Easy Import is a great tool to add new products into one department. First, choose your department from the drop-down menu. Then press Next Step. Now download the template and fill out the UPC, description, and price columns for each new item to be added to the selected department. Once done, press Next Step. Find your file after clicking in here and add it. Then press Import these products department. Once done, all the new products will be added to that department. The last menu in products is Quick Add. Quick Add is similar to product maintenance, but none of the other options are available. It is used to simply add items without additional information. So again, you add your UPC here, the description, your department, and the price. Once done, hit Save, and that item will be added to your products. With Receive Inventory, you can receive your products and update your inventory instantly. To receive product, you need to have at least these 4 fields: the vendor, a receiving name, the product, and the number of items you will be receiving. So first, let's look for our vendor. Let's create a receiving name, we'll call it Test. Search for our product, so you can look for a product using your UPC, a description, or an item code. So let's look for that kombucha we added earlier. We'll put kombucha. The number of cases received, 10. and how many come in that case. So the case count, let's say 20 come in a case. We'll add, and then once we're done, we press receive, and our inventory on hand will be updated immediately. Once done, it'll say saved, and you're ready. You can always add more items to your receiving just by pressing here and looking for that item. You can also edit or delete items off of your receiving if you've accidentally made a mistake. The shrink inventory menu can be used to shrink your products. To shrink a product, you need to enter that product. If you have reason codes, you can select them here, and the quantity to shrink. So let's add that kombucha. And again, you can look for it using the UPC or description. Select a reason code, let's put spoilage, and the quantity, so let's say 20. Add. Once done, press shrink, and this will update your quantity on hand and your inventory. When it's done, it'll press save, and your inventory will be updated. The shrink report menu is split into two fields. The first field shows each product that has been shrinked using the shrink inventory menu. You can see here that kombucha that we shrunk. It'll have the UPC, the description, what department it came from, how many of that item were shrinked, and the loss from that shrinkage. On the bottom, we have the reason codes that is split into. So if you have multiple reason codes, say you have in-store use or theft, it'll split into those reasoning codes and show you how much of the loss is from product in numbers here and that loss cost. You can also look at the shrink report using your departments. You want to know how much shrink you've lost in each department, or if you want to search by UPC or description. Whenever you see this calendar, this means that you can go by a range of days. So if you want to see how much shrink has been done today, or if you want to see through the month, you can do that as well. And of course, whenever you see this little button, you can download this report as a CSV or a PDF, and you can export all visible data or all of the data combined. For the low inventory report, when an item's quantity on hand goes below the amount inserted in the low inventory alert field in product maintenance, it will be shown here. As you can see, we have the vendor name it comes from, the item code, the UPC for that item, a description, the quantity you have on hand, the low inventory alert amount that was specified in the product maintenance, the price it sold for, the cost, when that item was last sold, how much it was sold in the last 7 days, and the last 30 days. You can also search for items by using the vendor. So if you have multiple vendors and you're receiving from them or going to order from them, you can search for them here and see what items need to be bought just from that vendor and not all items that are low on quantity. The purchase orders menu can be used to create new purchase orders to use when receiving or just to order items for your store. First, we need to have a new PO name. So let's call this video. Select the vendor and then add a new PO. Once your PO has been added, you can now start adding items to it. So again, you can enter by UPC or description. Put the quantity, say we're going to get 20. The case cost, let's put 20. And the case count, 20. Add the product. And now that PO will be added. You can keep adding items to your PO or create new POs. If you have multiple POs, you can search for them by their name or their ID, or you can look just by vendor. Once a PO has been created, you can search for it in the receive inventory. and then automatically receive against it. If you're no longer going to be using this PO, or if it has any mistakes, you can also delete it. You can delete products here as well from your POs. If you're going to receive new products that haven't been added to your backend yet, you can also do a new product. Add the product name, the quantity, the case cost, and the case count, and then add it. This is our sales menu. And in your sales menu, you have your end of day report, end of week report, store sales, product sales, hourly sales, discount sales, and gift card sales. We're going to start off with the end of day report. In the end of day report, you can choose to view the end of day report for one day or a range of days that you select. The end of day report displays gross sales, refund amounts, discounts, net sales, and tax. So we're going to take a look right now. Let's do a day. We're going to do, well, you just exported this one, but I'm going to pick a range of days. That way we can see some information. Export the report. It's going to show up down here on the bottom left. You just click on that and it'll open. So this is going to show, like I said, our gross sales. And since we've done a range of days, it's going to do it for each day, but let's just focus on one day. So for 2/7, we had our gross sales of $334. Our refunds, if we issued any, the discount amount, our net sales, and if we had any taxes collected. Then it's going to break down our departments. So it's going to show each department how much was sold, the gross sale, which percentage of this department made up your sales. So it was all grocery, so it's 100%. How many items were sold in that department, and the average price. So it's going to take the sales, divide by the item, and give you the average price. Next part is payment methods. This is going to show you how your different tenders were used to pay. So it's give you gift certificate total, the actual versus the system, and if you were over and short. So this cash total right here, if you haven't been doing your balancing till, or you haven't done it yet, it's most likely going to show you over and short because the actual might be 0 and the system will show what you collected in cash. But once you start balancing your till, it'll be correct. And how many times that transaction was used. So 17 times cash. Gift card again, any checks, and your in-store charge total. So your tender total amounts will most likely always be over your department sales amount because this tender amount, it reflects how much you collected in sales and in tax. So this would be over than your department sales. Unless you charge no tax on anything, then they should be the same. We have our deposit information for your different tills. So again, it's going to show your actuals versus your systems and your over and shorts. And it's going to show your pickup amounts, your loan-ins, your total cash deposits, and your total check deposits. And then on the bottom, your total deposit. It's also going to have your paid outs. So if you have your paid outs, you've done any paid outs, it's going to show how much for that amount, the employee name, and the employee ID. Then also your tax collected. So we haven't collected any tax, but if we had collected tax, it would show how much it was collected, on what sales, and also which types of tax. So if you have different taxes, it's going to break it down into those taxes as well. And then gift cards. We don't have any gift card data, but this would show you how much was sold in gift cards and how much you collected in gift card. So this is just a basic breakdown of your sales for that day. And our other sales reports, it'll go a little deeper and it'll explore these cells and how this is populated. But this is just if you want to take a quick glance over of what your sales were for the day and how you collected money. So this is our end of week report. It's located under sales and end of week report. And the end of week report is similar to the end of day, but it shows from the day you select to 7 days back. So it always starts off on the day you're at and goes 7 days back. It's going to show you the department sales. So usually you'd have more departments in sales, but we just had our grocery. It'll show you each day for those sales up here. It's going to show you the tax collected for those days. So if we had any tax collected, it would show down here. And how we paid for, how those groceries are paid for in the tender. So we have cash that day and in-store charge. And then this day we did a refund. And at the bottom it'll do a total. And you can always export this again. Click here. Little drop down menu is going to come down. Export all data as CSV. or all visible data, or your PDF. You can also export this report as well. So you press export, it's going to show up and give you that end of week report. So if you'd like to see it in this format, it's available as well. You can print it out, download it, whatever you prefer. So it just gives you a nice overview of the week of what was sold, how it was paid for, and your tax data. This is the store sales report. It's located under sales and store sales. And there's 4 options that let you break down how you'd like to view your store sales. So there's sales summary, a sales comparison, department sales, and your monthly summary. So sales summary is a basic review of your sales, which includes the gross sales, the number of transactions, any refunds, discounts, your net sales, and your taxes. And right now it's on one day. We can choose a range of days. Then it'll show you the date for the gross sales, how many transactions for that day. And then we have a daily right here. You can pick weekly. So it'll do a range of days from when you start that date you picked, and also monthly. We also have a sales comparison. So you can pick a range of days, so 4/1 through 4/15 through 4/4/14 through 2019. So the same range, just a different year. And you'll have your name, your sales, the number of transactions, again, last year's sales, last year's transactions, the difference, and the number of transactions difference. So this will just let you review how your year was compared to last year. You also do it in sections. If you've been using sections, it'll break it down by that too. You have department sales. So again, it's going to show you, let's do a range of days. Go to departments. It'll show you those different department sales. How much was in it, how much it made up that percentage of all your sales for that time range, how many items, the average price and transactions. So again, this is like a more in-depth summary of your end of day report. And last is your monthly summary. So it'll go by month and show you what this year you sold in that month compared to last year, the difference, and the percentage in difference. This menu is product sales. It's located under sales, under product sales. It's going to show you every item, how much it did cost, the price, when it was last modified, your GPM, your TI cost, your profit for that item, how many have been sold, and the net sales for those items. So you can pick a range of days. You can show movers and show non-movers. You can pick departments. So if you just want information from certain departments, you can do that as well. Or you can select vendors. And you can see the product sales on just those particular items. This gives you a nice breakdown of how items are doing, or if you just want to see how a certain department's sales are with certain products, this will show you. And again, you can always download this data as a CSV file and view it that way or as a PDF. This is our hourly sales, and this is located under sales, under hourly sales. And this will show you when you're most busiest, either time of day or certain days if you want to check. This is a great way to track if you need to do shift changes at a certain time, hire more employees for a certain day, have less employees on other days. And when you pick the day, it'll show you that day. So Monday, we're not that busy. And then if we unclick Monday, it's going to show all the data for that one day. And you can tell that this is our lab. So we do a lot of testing in our lab from 3 o'clock to 3:45. And we're testing a lot of that time. So if we pick Saturday and Sunday, we're usually not in the office testing, so there's no data for that day. And up here you can see the different colors are the different days we've picked and the data for that time. So if we were doing more sales at 9 o'clock, it would show, and then you'll start seeing a nice little curve of when you're busiest. So if you were looking at this as a store owner, you would go, oh, at 3:30, I'm the most busiest. I probably don't want to do a shift change then. But if you were down here lower, maybe at 10:30, you'd be like, oh, it's not such a bad time. It'll also do it by the days as well. So you can see maybe on Mondays, you're not as busy. There's nothing going on. Maybe Tuesdays, you're really, really busy. So you want to have as many employees working on that day as possible. So just a nice way to track your store sales when you're the most busy, least busy. So this is our discounts report. It's located under sales and discount sales. What this is going to show you is how many times your discounts have been used, which discounts have been used, how much the totals are, and the amount discounted. So first you can pick a range of days or just a single day here. It's going to display the discount name, what type it is, so if it's a line item or a basket, how many times that discount has been applied, the transaction total for that transaction, and the amount discounted. So how much did that discount take off of the transaction? And the bottom here will have the total. So how many times it's been applied, all discounts. So if you've done 50 and 50, it would show 100 here, the transaction totals, and the total amount discounted. So if you want to know how much money people are saving by using those discounts, you can see that amount here. Okay, this is your electronic journal. With your electronic journal, you can search for transactions. So if you're trying to find out, find a certain receipt or find out what happened on a transaction, you have a customer who's disputing it, you can come in here and find any transaction canceled or processed completely using this menu. So first you can search by a range of days or just a single day. Let's do a range of days so we have some information popping up. Okay, as you can see here, the name is the name of your employee, your cashier who rang up this transaction. And when we click it, we can view the receipt. So every transaction on here, whether it's canceled or approved, finished all the way through, is shown right here. And when it's canceled, you're going to see right here it says transaction canceled. When it's approved, it has this green sign. And every receipt you find here, you can download. So it'll show up down here on the bottom left-hand corner. Let's open it up, and it'll look like this. So it's just a copy of the transaction that was given to your customer when they finished the transaction. You can also email the receipt. So if you want to email it to yourself or to a customer, you can do that as well. And you'll see that bar go across and says email sent to me, kbaldwin@itretail.com. All right, now we have other filters that you can find the transaction with. So if you want to narrow it down, we have employee. So you can pick the employee who was doing that transaction or canceled it. What tender type was used. So this is only if the transaction was finished. So we'd say check, we're looking for a check, we don't have any available, or cash. A time range, so you're looking for if this transaction was done between 2 and 4, you can put 2, make sure you put the PM. On the right we have 11 to 59, but we could put 4. Let's see if anything comes up. Oh, you have some transactions here. So these are our basic parameters, but we can go into the advanced filters and find more. So if you're using customers and you're adding them to the transaction, you're tracking them, you can search for them by the customer. Authorization code is for credit cards, so that would show at the bottom of the receipt, and you can search for that too. If you're looking for a specific product, if you know the UPC, you can type that in and it'll find it, or if you just have the description name, so you're looking for muffins or that kombucha from before, you can search for that as well. If you have multiple lanes, you can just put in the single lane you're looking at, or you can leave it empty and it'll search for every lane, and then the dollar range. So if you know the transaction was between $10 and maybe $35, it'll only show those ones in that amount. So again, this is really helpful for finding transactions that happen and maybe customers come back, they want a receipt, you want to see what was going on. This tracks every single one you've done, if it was canceled or processed all the way through. This is our gift card report. It's located under sales, under gift card sales. What this is going to show you is how many gift cards have been loaded, the amount that's been loaded to those gift cards, how many gift cards have been redeemed, the amount that's been redeemed from them, and the liability. So this gift card's redeemed, this is going to show how many of them have been done, not the amount, but if you sold 10 gift cards, 5 people have come in with them, it's going to show 5 here. The amount redeemed, so if you have sold $100 in gift cards and they've spent $75, it's going to show $75 here left. And then the liability, so it'd be $25. So this is how much people have used, and liability is what's left out there for gift cards. And again, when you see this button, you can pick what you'd like to look at. So maybe you don't care how many gift cards have been loaded, but you do care about the liability and the amount redeemed. When you're done, you can always export it as a PDF or the CSV. So it's just an easy way to see how much gift card money is still left out there, left to be redeemed, and your liability. Till balancing. So till balancing is located under the balancing menu in balance till. And this is where you'll reconcile what the system is counted in cash against what you've counted from the till at the end of your business day or cashier shift. So if you're balancing by till, each lane will have its own cash drawer. If you're balancing by cashier, then each cashier's drawer will need to be balanced. So right now we're balancing by till, it's showing the register. If you balance by cashier, then each cashier's name will pop up down here, and you'll reconcile each drawer with that. So for each tender type, we have a row with 3 columns. We have the actual, the system, and the over and short. So the amount under system is what the POS has counted in transactions for that day with that tender. So when you balance your till or cashier's drawer, you'll put the amount that you counted at the end of the day from that drawer, including the initial loan-in and all the cash collected. So as you can see here, we have a loan-in of $200. And now if we've collected $1,000 in cash, the system's going to say $1,200. And then we're going to put the amount, including the loan-in, the initial loan-in, into this box of what we counted. So you might have $11,999. That's including your loan-in. That's the amount you're going to put in. Once you put in the amount, you're going to click submit, and it's going to tell you how much you're over and short. So right now we haven't put in any cash. So it says we're over and short $201. When we put in our amount, it'll reconcile, it'll add it up and show what we're over and short at. You can also do it this way too, where you'll count each type of bill. It's right here, this little plus sign. You can say how many hundreds you have, 50s, 20s, all the way to the cent. And then you can do submit here too. So on the right hand side, we have the loan-ins. This is your cash drawer analysis. So your initial loan-in, the cash collected. So this is the cash that you collected from your transactions. Your paid-ins, if you had any paid-ins. So if you are going to do any kind of, your cashier needs change, they don't swap with you directly. You just give them maybe $10 in quarters, $20 in quarters. You do your pay-in, it's going to show here. Any received on account. So this is for in-store charge. If your customers pay for their account, it'll show what was paid for. Any paid outs. So this will subtract from your drawer, so your cashier won't be low or off. Your vendor payouts, so if you paid out your vendor from your cashier drawer, and any pickups. Pickups, if you pick up from your drawer, so a pickup is when you have too much cash in your drawer, you're not comfortable with as much cash in there, you can select to have a pickup at a certain cash amount. So say you only want to have $1,000 in your drawer. After that, you're not comfortable, you do a pickup. The pickup is not counted in the system right here at the end of the day. So if you had the $1,200, you came by, you did a $300 pickup, now the system's going to say $900. So you should have $900 in that drawer left. So then it'll show your actual cash after you put in the amount, it'll update, and then it'll tell you if you're over and short. So I'm just going to put in that we had $201 for that day. I'm going to submit. It's going to ask, are you sure you entered your cash correctly? I think so. It's going to save. And then it'll show us over and short, 0. This is your till status. So till status is located in our balancing and payment methods. And what this does is show you each type of tender used in your transactions. So each row is going to have these columns. So first row is the tender type. So we have debit card, gift certificate, cash. And then we have the type. This is mainly used for credit cards. So when you click this button, it's going to say credit card with the type of credit card. So it'll track if it's an American Express, a MasterCard, or a Visa. The amount of transactions done with this type of tender. So we have a lot of cash ones, 54 in cash, 1 with MasterCard, 3 with American Express. The actual, so this is mainly for cash, because remember, actual is what we actually counted from the drawer. So we haven't done any balancing in these drawers because this is our lab, so we just charge things, but this would be actual. So it would show you what you've actually counted if you've been keeping track of your balancing. Usually for tenders like debit card, gift certificates, credit cards, the actual is going to match the system because we don't count that. The system does it for us. We total the transaction, we send them out to the PIN pad. The PIN pad does all the work for us. We usually just have human error here with the cash. And then the system, what the system's counted from that tender, and you're over and short. So as you can see, we're not over and short in our debit or our credit card because the machine did the work for us. We're short in our cash though. So this just gives you a general overview of what tender types have been used and how many times they've been used and how much cash from those tender types have been processed. And at the bottom, it'll give you a total. So it'll just say the number of transactions, the actual, the system, and the over and short. Underneath, we have how many voids have happened on the tills. So you can see on till 1, we've had 0 voids, but on till 3, we've had 1 void. And that void totaled up to $2. So say this item wouldn't have been voided. If we would have sold it, it would have been a $2 transaction. And then here we have refunds. So how many refunds have been issued from these tills? And the refund total. So again, like the void total, I would track how much was totaled for the refund altogether. So this just gives you a basic overview of your till status, how much money's gone through, what types, and how many voids you've done. And again, whenever you see this button here, you can download this data as a CSV or a PDF. And if you have a lot of data on the screen, you can just export what's visible, or you can export it all. And it always just downloads and you can view it at your own pace, or if you have a Excel program, you can look at the data with the CSV file. Last on the balancing menu is the paid out report. So the payout report is just a general overview of all the payouts that were done on your lanes. It'll show the payout name, so the payout that was chosen on the lane, the employee that did the payout, that's me, the employee ID, the date and time that payout was done, and the amount. You can also choose a range of days. So right now I have 4 through 5, but you can just pick a today, 4/10, and it'll give you the overview for it. This is taxes. We're going to go over taxes and fees together. They're very similar. So first we have taxes. So we have a couple of taxes already created, but if you want to create a new tax, press new. We're going to give it a name, new tax, and the tax rate. So let's make this tax 5%. So you see it starts out really small. You're going to have to add some zeros to it. Once done, press save. It's going to give it an ID of 4. It's going to go through each new ID number. So this is 1, 2, 3. It's going to give it that new ID of 4. You can't change that, but you can also edit these though. So if you want to change it from new tax to new tax, you can do that. Press save. It'll change the name here. If you want to get rid of that new tax, just click it and press remove. It'll ask, are you sure you want to remove this item? Click remove. It'll be gone. Same for fees, except you're not going to do it as a percentage. It's going to be a dollar amount. So click fees. There's no fees yet, but we're going to click new. Create a new fee name, so new fee, and then the fee amount. So let's say this fee is $5. It's pretty expensive. Just put that amount in there, press save. It's going to have that little green saved. It's going to add up on there. Again, if you want to get rid of it, just click on it and press remove. So you can add as many fees or taxes as you want. And once you add a fee and a tax, they'll be available to use in your departments or add on your products. This is our sales tax report. So it's located in our taxes and fees and sales tax report. Just gives a basic summary of the sales tax that we're charged. And right here you can see summary. And you can pick a range of days, a month, a week, 1 day. And you can see the tax plan that was associated with those charges. So here we have sales tax. That's the name of the tax. How many taxable sales were used with that tax plan? The tax amount here. If there was a tax exempt amount, so if you had a customer or a sale that went through that was tax exempt, it would show the amount here. and the total tax charged. Under Details, you can pick the selected tax, and it'll show the invoice number, the receipt number, the taxable sales, the tax plan rate, and the tax total. So this is going to show every invoice or receipt that had a tax associated with it. So you can exit out, pick a new tax. That's the one we just made, so it's not going to have any taxes associated with it. And then we have departments with taxes. So this is just going to show which departments have taxes on them. So we have the grocery department. It's got taxes 1 on it. You can also do sales tax. The meat and deli department has the sales tax on that one as well. And again, if we go to summary, you can see that sales tax plan. If we want this information, we can always download it here. If you don't have any tax exempt amount, you can always X this out and download what you see. The next menu is Employees. Under Employees, we have the submenu, Employees. This is where we're going to add or edit existing employees. So right now I've already started a new employee, but to create a new one, you press New, add their first name, their last name, and a birthday. Wherever you see these red asterisks, these are required fields. So fields like gender and phone number are not required, but you can add them if you want. The next one is roles. So we have 2 roles already created, cashier and manager, but you can create your own roles, and we'll show that in the next video, but this gives your cashiers a level of access that you want them to have. Last is cashier PIN. Every cashier needs a unique PIN number. That's how we identify them on the front end. After that, press Save, and your new employee will be added. Now, if you want your employee to have backend access, you click this right here, Backend Access, and this menu will pop up. Check this box, provide an email, a password, and a backend role. And again, these roles can be administered in the Roles menu. Make sure that they provide a valid email address, because if they forget their password, we can always email it to them with, "I forgot my password." If a cashier no longer works for you, you can always uncheck is active, and they will no longer have access to your system. You can also remove employees by highlighting them and pressing the remove button. Or if they're already in your system, you can edit their existing information. So if they'd like to change their PIN number, you can do that here, and then press Save. The next menu is Roles. This menu is located under Employees, under Roles. Here's where levels of access for each role are assigned. Your system will have 2 roles already created, cashier and manager, but you can create more or edit current ones. There are 2 tabs for roles, the front end and the back end. So you can customize the level of access each one has. To create a new role, press New, and then type in the name that you want the new role to have. So we'll say test role. Let's look at the cashier's roles. So say this is a new cashier, you want them at least to have register access, but maybe you don't want them to have manager override, so we leave that one unchecked. Maybe they can add a product, add new customers, but we don't want them to have vendor payouts, but we should want them to do reprint receipt. So here you can pick what you want these roles to do. Maybe you don't want them to be able to do a void item, or maybe you do. But with void item, you can say what the minimum amount can be for an item to be voided or the maximum amount. So maybe it's okay if they void items that are $1. You can put $1 in here. But they can't void anything over $20. Once you're happy with how those roles look, press Save. And that role will be added to the front end. And now it'll be available for your cashiers to be added to. Same thing for back end. If you want to make a new role, press New. Give it a new name. We'll say Test Backend. And then give it what access you want it to have. So maybe you want them to be able to see the end of day report, but not mess with anything in product maintenance. After saving, Let's go back to our employees. You can see here that that new role we created for the cashier will be available. Once giving them the new role, just press save. Employee timesheet. This is located under employees in an employee timesheet. So if you and your employees have been using the clock in and clock out feature that's located on the front end, this is where you're going to find all the information that's been input in it. So as you can see right here, we have all your employees, and when you click on their name, it's going to show when they clocked in and when they clocked out. It'll have the date, the time, the date again, and the out time. If they put a comment, it'll show up here too. And you can do a range of days, so I have 4/5 through 4/10, but you can also just pick one day. If your employee forgets to clock in, you can always add a shift. So let's add a shift right now. So we press add shift. You can pick a date, so I'm going to pick yesterday. We're going to enter a time. We're just going to pick the time it is right now. Pick the out date. I'm going to pick the day that we were on. Enter the time. You can also you can enter the time manually, but when you just pick an in and out, originally it's going to do in 8 hours. So if they only did 4 hours, make sure you put the correct times in. When you're done, just press save, and that time is going to be added to their timesheet. So if you want to export this information, you can do for export all. That would be for all your employees' information for this time frame that you see right here. If you just want to see this one employee, just press export. So let's press export and look at the timesheet. It's going to show up down here. We'll click this button and it'll show the timesheet. So I worked on 4/7 from 11:41 to 7:41, 8 hours worked. Then down here it's going to total the total amount of hours. If you accidentally put too many hours in, or you just want to remove this time altogether, just press remove. It's going to ask, are you sure you want to remove this time entry? If you're sure, just press remove, and it'll be removed. The last menu in Employees is Employees Report, and it's located here under Employees in an Employee Report. Here you can see the sales an employee has done, the amount of voids, how many no sells they've done, how many refunds they've issued, discounts, cancels, and the amount of transactions a day. And again, you can always do a range of days or just pick a day. Down here, this is going to show the store average. So since I have no information, nothing's being shown here. But if we pick Michael, it's going to show his average compared to the store average. So he's doing below average on the cancels, which is good. If we pick Louis, he's high on sales, but he's way above the average for cancels. So this can give you an overview into what your cashiers are doing on the lane. Again, as always, you can press this button and download all this data as a CSV or as a PDF. This is the customer menu. Customers can be added and modified here. So if you want to add a new customer, press new and input their name and as much information as possible. The more information included about a customer, the easier it will be for the cashier to find them and add them to the transaction. So let's put a first name. I'm going to put me. And then once you add the customer, it'll do the customer since and give you the date when you added them. And we also have card numbers, but the card numbers need to start with 004 and then give them a card number. We also have properties. So right here we have tax exempt. So if you add this customer to the transaction and they're tax exempted, they won't incur any taxes on any items, even if they're supposed to have taxes. We also have in-store charge. So if you're going to be using this feature, just check here for that customer. This will show their current balance You can also manually edit their balance and then the balance limit. So once you put a balance amount here and they use the in-store charge, when they reach this limit, they won't be able to charge anymore, and their loyalty points. So in administration, you can put how many points per dollar. So you could do $1 a point, $100 a point, and then use those to give discounts. Then we also have an expiration date. You can add expiration dates for cards. If you have a club membership, you can put it here. We also have frequent shopper. So right here in discount, if you put the discount amount in, that means when this customer is added to the transaction, they're automatically going to get that discount amount. So say 10%. So you could add your employees as a customer and then give them an employee discount this way. You could put frequent shopper, and then total purchases. It's going to show how much they've bought as a customer and their top purchases. This is going to list everything they've bought if they've been added to a transaction. And then write checks. So if you want to allow them to write check privileges, cash back, how many checks they've written. Once you're done, just press save. It's going to say save right here in green. And then if you want to go back, you can always edit. So if you want to go to properties, change my balance, I'm now at 25. You want to give me a balance limit of 500, you can do that too, and then save. And if you want to remove, just click on their name, press remove. It's going to say, are you sure you want to remove this item? Say yes, remove. And they'll be taken off the list with removed. That's it. This is the customers report. So right here, you press customers report, and this will be a report of all your customers. So you can see their last name, an email, phone, if they receive a discount, the first time they visited, the last time they visited, how many times they've been there, the total amount they've spent, and if they're tax exempt. And then right here in this drop-down menu, you can look for more information that you'd like to add. So we have last name, but we could add the first name as well. And you can see the expiration date, loyalty points, and you can also get rid of this as too. So if you don't want to know if they're tax exempt, you could take that out. Right here you see visit. So this is if they visited already. If you've entered them in the backend and they haven't visited, you can do a no visit. This will show them. And you can also search for them by their name. So let's put Lewis. And it's just going to show his information. And you can also search by date range. So right now we have a month date range. You can search for a whole year, a day, whatever you choose. And again, whenever you see this button, you can export all this data as a CSV, or you can download it as a PDF, either one. And this just helps you keep track of your customers. So this is the in-store charge report. It's under customers and in-store charge. The in-store charge report is an itemized list of all the items customers have bought. It also has all the payments that have been made and the amount due. So here you can see the name of the customer, their email, the total amount they have due right now, the last time they've paid, the last time they used their in-store charge, how many transactions are on there. And you can also search by entering a name or an email, and you can view the certain customers you want to look at within a time frame. And then you can export their invoice. So you can see exactly what they've bought with their in-store charge, the payments they've made, and if you have any made any manual credits to them. You just press export invoice, it'll download, and you can view that invoice for them. And again, you can always export all this data, and you can see different columns. So right now all the columns are chosen, but if you didn't want to see maybe their email address, unclick that, it'll take it off, then export the data. And you can also look at a no visit too. So it'll just show the total amount due, number of transactions. There you go. The next menu is administration, and the first menu is department. So in departments, you can create to separate your products into different groups for better organization and maintenance. So to create a new department, click new. Put the new department name, we'll say new department. Add the taxes that are associated with this department. So when an item's added to the department, it'll take on the attributes that you've put into this department. So let's say there's luxury tax. You can add an automatic discount. So let's say this department is always discounted 10%. If you have age restricted products, you can press verify age here, put 21 in. And that'll make sure that any product put in this department is going to be asked to verify age. So you have some different department properties. Food stamp. Can food stamp be used for this department? Does it require authorization, so a manager code? Is it a scale item? So when the item's put on the scale, that's how it has to be rung up. So these are mainly departments, properties that go along with product properties, as you've seen before. Is it a non-scan department? So it'll show up on the non-scan button in the front end. Is this department allowed for discount and enforced quantity? So when you ring up this item, it's going to ask how many of that item is being rung up. You can also make reporting groups. So you don't have any reporting groups, but you can put two groups together to make a reporting group. So let's make a new group. Press add. It's going to add that new reporting group, and then you can put it into the group. And so you would just see that one and maybe another group you've chosen to look at. And that's it. And then we'll add the group, pick our group, we'll save, and that group will be available. So this is sections. Sections is located under administration underneath departments, and it's an additional feature to organize your products. So products can belong both to a department and a section within that department. So to create a new section, you press new, create the new section name, new section, whatever you'd like to call it. The department it's going to go under, so pick the department, grocery, and any other properties you want to go along with it. So luxury, sales tax, new tax, verify age. The only other property in section properties is food stamp. So mainly your products are going to be getting their properties from the department, but if you have specialty products that only have maybe a sales tax in it and the other things in the department don't have it, then you would add it here. So just another way to fine-tune your products and track them. This section is tenders. It's located under administration and tenders right here. And mainly your tenders are going to be set up for you, but you can configure the general settings and limits such as cashback and if signatures are required. So each tender will have an amount option here and what the minimum amount the tender will be. So let's take a look. So under cash, we have our general settings. Is it active? Does it require manager override to be used? Is it depositable? Do we monitor this tender? Is it accepted for change? And do we open the drawer? If you open the drawer, what's the minimum amount? And then prompt for amount. So when we have prompt for amount, when you use this tender to check people out, it's going to ask how much is this amount for? And these settings are the minimum amount that can be used with this tender, so 0. The max amount, 5,000, and the overall max amount. So the max amount is what you can usually use, and then after the max amount, you're going to require manager override. But after you get to this amount, you can't use it anymore. So that just means that you can't have a transaction over 20,000. You can make this whatever amount you want, but these are the general settings around when you first get the system. We also have limits. So are refunds available with this tender? Does it require a manager override for this tender type to have a refund? What's the max refund and then the overall max? So again, what you can do regularly, and then after that requires a manager override. A pickup. So does this require a pickup? So if you have too much cash in your drawer, how much cash would be in it? Do you force a pickup max? So after it reaches $50,000 in the drawer, it's going to force you to pick it up. That's a little high. So you might want to put it to an amount you're comfortable with. And the maximum cashback amount. So this is mainly used for debit cards, but these options are available for every tender. So sometimes an option won't really be applicable to your tender, but we just have it there. Is a signature required? So this is really for credit cards. So if you want, you could require a signature, or you can have it that it requires a signature after they use a certain amount, over a certain amount. So maybe you just want to have signatures after $25. And then do you want to print a merchant copy? So do you want an extra copy for yourself of that receipt? And then miscellaneous. So this is a custom tender prompt. And this means when they use this tender, you can have a prompt come up on the screen that will will tell the cashier something. You could put, if it's in-store charge, you might want to say, make sure you see their ID, or you could always just remind them. But just remember that this is going to pop up every time they use that type of tender. So if you put it on cash, they might be seen a lot. It might take a lot more time. So these are just general settings and limits so that you can better control your tenders and how you want them to be used. This is our discounts menu. It's located under administration and discounts and loyalty rewards. So to create a new discount, press new. Give it a discount name. We're going to say new discount. And then how you would want it to show on the receipt. So just say like happy discount. There's two types of discounts. There's a dollar amount and a percent. So the dollar amount would be to take $1 off, or percent, you just want a 5%. You can also do enter discount manually. So what'll happen is we won't put how much it's going to take off. When you press this discount on the front end, it's going to ask you to enter how much it should be. If we leave that off and we press dollar amount, it's going to ask how much that dollar amount should be, or percentage. It's going to say how much should the percentage be. There's two types of discounts. There's item only, and then there's basket only. So item is going to be a line item. It's going to only apply once to the single item you pick it for. And basket's going to be the whole basket. So you can pick those two. And which day of the week to apply. So if you only have maybe a Taco Tuesday or a Thursday Senior Day, you can add it to just those days. If you want it to be on every day, you would pick every single day of the week. If you don't have it on the day, so say you have it excluded on Fridays, every other day is good, it's not even going to show up on the discount menu, so it won't be available to use. So you pick which day you want it to have. Then you just press save. Oh, we didn't put an amount in. This is the vendor menu. It's located under administration under vendors. So with vendors, you can add your different vendors that you receive your products from. So to create a new vendor, press new and put the vendor name in. So we're going to say new vendor. For vendors, all you need is the vendor name, but the more information you add, the better. So let's put our primary contact. We'll say it's me. You can add an email and a phone number. Once you start adding vendors to products, it's going to populate this product list, and it'll show you what products you get from that vendor. It'll also have a payment history, so if you've been using the pay vendor on the front end, it'll show that payment history to the vendor. So this is just a good way to track which vendors you have, and then to be able to use them in inventory when you want to do a PO or receive orders. Once you're done, just press save. It'll add that new vendor. They're right here. If you ever want to remove a vendor, just press remove, and that vendor will be removed. Are you sure you want to remove this item? Say remove, and then they'll disappear. And that's it. This is the reason codes menu. It's under administration and shrink reason codes. So these are the codes that you'll use in your inventory when you want to use the shrink inventory and shrink report. So here you can add different reasons. So press new, put the new code name. So we have spoilage, in-store use. I guess we could say theft. It's not nice, but we can always put that. And the property, so a description if you'd like. But for reason codes, you only need to have one attribute, and that's the name. Press save. It's going to create the reason code number for you, and those are the reason codes you use in your inventory. If you want to get rid of it, you can just press remove. It'll ask, are you sure you want to remove this item? Press remove, and it's gone. This is paid in and out. So paid in and out is underneath administration and paid IO. So these are the reasons why you would do a pay in or pay out, and we'll make them available on the front end. So you want to make a new one. Click which one you want, paid in or paid out. Click new. Give the name, so we're going to say new, paid out, a description, say for video, then press save. It's going to make that new pay in out, paid out for you. If you want to get rid of it, just click it and remove. And it's the same procedure for a paid out. press new, give it a name, a description, and save, and you can use it on the front end. This is our Product Lookup Designer. It's located under Administration, under Product Lookup Designer. This is a really handy tool to add products that you want to look up very quickly on the front end. So the first thing you're going to do is add a category. So categories would be fruit or vegetables or whatever you'd like to make the category, and underneath that you're going to add your products. So let's add a category. I'm going to put fruit, and then we're going to press save. Once it's saved, we're going to press right here to go inside that category and add a product. So we're going to click Add Product once we're in here. And now we're going to look for that product with either a UPC or a description. So we're going to add a banana. It's right there. And then we're going to upload an image if you want to. So all images have to be PNG file format. It's going to upload it, and then you're going to press save. And when you go back to categories and you go inside, there'll be the banana. And on the front end, when they go into that category and they press this button, this banana button, it's going to automatically add it to the front end. You can always remove products. So say you don't want this product anymore, just press remove. It's going to say, are you sure? Just press yes. It's going to delete it. And you can add lots of stuff, and it'll be really easy for your cashiers to check people out. This is our POS Manager, and it's located underneath Administration and POS Manager. And this is going to determine how your POS will function, and I'm going to explain each one and go through them. So first, age restriction. This is the minimum age the cashier must be to sell age-restricted products. So if the product is age-restricted to age 18, the cashier is going to need to be 18 as well. Age 21 for the product, the cashier will need to be age 21. And you can set these to make the cashier be older if you need to. Next one is time limit. So the number of seconds before the program clears the screen between check stand transactions. So if a customer comes directly after the transaction, the screen's going to clear automatically, but this is how long it's going to be if no one's behind them and wait for the screen to clear. So right now it's set at 25. How long the drawer can stay open after it's been open for cash. So right now it's at 45. So after 45 seconds, a message is going to appear on the screen saying the cash drawer has been open. Switch user timeout. So this determines how long the user can be inactive before the switch user dialog appears after a completed transaction. So right now it's at 0, so it's never going to ask to be switch the user. But you can set this to 30 seconds, a minute. This is good to use if cashiers walk away, they forget to lock the drawer, lock the cashier screen. It'll time it out, and then when they come back, they'll have to input their information again. Next is balancing. So how much they should start their initial loan with. So right now it's set to 200. It's always set to 200 initially. You could set it to more or less. It's whatever you choose to start your store out with loan in for the day. Balance by register or cashier. So are you going to balance it by till, by register? This means that it's going to be one balance stored. And what will happen is even if multiple people go in that drawer, it's just going to be counting by the drawer. Next is balance by cashier. So if someone new logs into that drawer, they're going to get their initial loan in amount, and it's going to start counting new for that cashier. So it just depends on how you like to balance your tills, either by register or by cashier. And then we also have prompt cashier to enter loan. So if you're going to have a different loan in amount every day, I would suggest you put the initial loan amount to 0 and then prompt the cashier to enter their loan amount that they're going to have for that day. If not, if it's the same for every day, press no and leave your initial loan amount alone. Allow partial credit. So this one is partially pay for the transaction with the credit card. If it's only approved for half the transaction amount, it will take that money off the transaction and charge the customer the remaining amount. So if they don't have enough money on their card, say the transaction's for 50, they swiped their card, they only have enough for 25, it's going to take that 25 off their card, and then they'd have to pay the remaining with a different tender. Indicates whether the cash drawer should open when the cashier signs off the register. So will the cash drawer open when they sign off? You might want to put yes if they want to get their draw out when they sign off, or if no, if they do a no sale and the drawer opens. Keep check digit. So this is an option that's usually configured already. Keep check digit is the last digit on a UPC. We usually like to not keep that check digit, so we put this to no. Ignore 002 UPCs. This is for random weight labels. So if it's ignored, it's not going to read a random weight label. As usual, it's going to read it as just a regular barcode. So next is charge sales tax on fees. So this setting determines whether the product's properties are inherited by a fee or not. So for example, if your product has a tax plan of 6% assigned to it, then the fee will be charged 6% tax in addition to the tax charge for the product. So this is just going to add the tax to the fee as well. So if you have a $1 fee and you press no for this, it's not going to charge the tax on that fee. If you press yes, it would charge that 6% tax. Next, we have label queue. So you can choose how products are added to the label queue. So you could say it's none or prompt. So when you edit or add an item, it's going to prompt you if you want to add that product to the label queue, or you can pick automatically. And when you do adding or edit, it's going to automatically add it to that label queue. So that's useful if you're going to make a lot of new labels, you're changing prices, you might want to put it on automatically and it'll add it to it for you. Next is the use long price for random weight products. So this just means if you have a product that's over $99.99, it's going to read that price. So if it's $100.01, it's going to be able to read the random weight long price. So just press yes. One discount per transaction. So only one basket discount created from discounts can be added per transaction. So if you want to have multiple discounts, you press no. If you want to only have one discount per transaction, you press yes. Next is the in-store charge. So if you want to have in-store charge available for your store and give your customers a line of credit, just press yes, and that'll allow you to start using in-store charge. Coupon prefix. This is already set. It's usually 555, so we just leave that alone. Customer loyalty. So right now it's on no. But if you press yes, you're going to be able to add customer loyalty discounts in the back end under discounts and loyalty. And then the points that customers use are when people cash out for CAT and they total, they'll start using those, adding up those customer loyalty points. And then under here, 1 point per, this is going to tie in with customer loyalty. So you say how much $1 or how much 1 point is per dollar. So if you want it to be $1 per point, you put $1 here. If you want it to be $100 per point, just depends on how much you want those points to be worth. This is where you add your Zapier information right here. Next is close dialogues on selection. So when a dialog item is selected on the front end, immediately close out the window. So this works for departments, discounts, loyalty rewards, pay-ins, and payouts. So once you pick something from those menus, the menu item will automatically close and you go back to ringing up items. And then allow partial approval of gift cards. So this is the same thing as credit cards. You want to allow it to partially approve. They've charged $50, their gift card only has $25. It'll take that $25 and the rest of the amount will be available to pay for with a different tender. And last, PIN pad require amount approval. So the PIN pad will prompt the cardholder to approve the transaction amount. So the amount will show on the PIN pad and say, the amount is $20. Do you approve? They press yes, and the transaction will finish. Last is our check stand screen. So this first is security. This says close product lookup on UPC. So how we made that product lookup designer, once they pick an item, we wanted to know if it should close automatically or keep it open. So some people like to leave it open if they're going to be using the product lookup designer a lot. Customer card prefix, so it's at 004. Usually this is what you're going to leave it at. If not, you can change it to something else, but when you make your customer cards in the back end under your customers, you're going to have to match this number. So usually you should leave it at 004. Display on touchscreen. So display age override button. So if you're selling age restricted items, select yes to enable the cashier to select an age override button when the customer looks well above the age limit. So if you want them to just be able to override instead of putting the customer's date of birth, you can. Display the card number. So option for the card number display on the cashier screen. So we have yes and no. Display customer name. So option for customer name to be displayed on the cashier screen. So we have yes. So you usually want to have their customer name on there, because if you're looking them up, you want to know who they are and have that name on there. Display weight. So if weighted items should display the weight of the cashier screen. Usually yes. If you're going to be doing scanned items, weighted items, you want to display how heavy that item is. We also have display weight unit. So how those items are going to be weighed in what unit. So we have pounds, kilograms, and ounces. Usually leave it as pounds. It depends on what you're selling. Show item count. So this is a flag to indicate if the system will show the item count on the cashier screen on the receipt. So usually people like to see the item count to make sure that they processed as many items that they had on there. Show keyboard. So on the front end, usually you're not going to have a mouse and keyboard. It's just going to be all on screen. So you're going to need that keyboard to pop up if you ever need to type anything in, like if you're looking for a customer. If you have a keyboard, you might not need this, but usually you should just leave it on. Do not print random weight. So if you have random weight items, you can just opt to just have the random weight information not printed, but if you are, you usually want to have that left on there so you know how much it was and how much it costs. Closing and opening with denominations. So specify if you would like the option for denominations for opening and closing. So this is as if you were balancing the till, it'll allow you to put in how many different types of bills you had, the change. If you're going to close and open with the front end and you'd like to have that option, just press yes. Resume transaction print detail. So if you suspend a transaction and resume it, it's going to give you that detailed information for you when you resume it. And usually you want this at yes, because you just don't want to have on there how much it is. The savings message. So if you're using the sales options in the products, this will say you saved and then the amount, but you could put a different savings message on there. You could put like, aren't you happy you saved this much amount? Force your cashier to clear all suspended transactions before they sign off. So if you press yes, then before the cashier signs off, they're going to have to clear all their suspended transactions. If you like to keep those transactions for other reasons, you might want to put this at no so they stay on there indefinitely until you're ready to cash them out or total them out. And then enable electronic receipts. So if yes, then the customer will be prompted to enter his phone number at the end of the transaction, and then he'll receive his electronic receipt. If you don't want that, just press no. If yes, it's going to ask them. So it just depends on if you want your customer there a little longer, putting in their information, or if you don't want to use a lot of paper receipts, you can choose to use electronic receipt option. And that's it. This is the check stand receipt menu under POS Manager. So this is going to show you different ways your receipt can look and how to receive the receipt. So first, customer confirm receipt. So they're going to display an option for the register receipt if they want to receive a receipt or not. If you press no, it's automatically going to print the receipt. Yes, it's going to ask, do you want a receipt? The cashier will ask the customer. If they press yes, it'll print out. If they press no, no receipt. E-receipt show button. So this is an option to email a receipt to the customer. Print employee name. So flag to indicate the employee name should be printed on the receipt. Yes or no. If you want to see the UPC on the receipt, how to sort your receipts, so what the products will be sorted as. So we have UPC, department, and by alphabet. Split tax total, so how to print taxes separately on the check stand and receipt. Usually want them split up so people can see what taxes are being charged. This indicates where your till information will be. So the time, the date, cashier, name or number, is it on the trailer? Or is it on the header? Usually people put this information on the trailer. This information is the receipt header, so you can put whatever you would like. Usually people put the name of the grocery store, the address, and a phone number, but you can put whatever you please. The receipt trailer, so thank you for shopping with us. This will be at the bottom. Print the customer's date of birth. So if you've added a customer to this transaction, it could print their date of birth. Open department cell description. So right here, if you do open department ring, usually it'll just let you add that item, but you can press yes for this, and when they do that open department ring, it'll ask for a comment on what was sold, and it'll print on the receipt. A savings message. So if you are doing any kind of sales with our products, you can do savings, and it'll show how much they've saved on that product. Long product description. So this allows product descriptions with no character limits. So if you have really long descriptions, you can press yes, it'll print the whole thing. suppress customer balances. This is for customer invoice, customer store charge. It's going to suppress their customer balance. So if they don't want to see how much their balance is, you press no. If you'd like them to see how much the balance is on their in-store charge, just press yes. This is a receipt print threshold. So if a transaction total is under the amount, do not print the signature receipt. So this is going to have, if they charge with a credit card, under 50, it's not going to print that extra receipt. But if it's over, it will.